The motivation behind my practice has taken the duration of this MA to fully develop and mature. In retrospect, it originally seemed to be from a desire to defend fellow tattooed Christians and to both justify the use of tattoos as a legitimate way of expressing the wearer's faith and to debunk the notion that tattoos are something to be detested and marginalised in Christendom. But this did not totally sit well with me, and although I accepted it as a starting point for my work, I was not content with the photographs I produced, as while they were technically sound images, they did not tell anything about the character, personality, or spiritual story of the sitter. Plus, they only worked as a standalone images and did not have a cohesive element to them to create a continuity to the images. So I had to rethink my methodology to achieve my intent. I had to step back from my work and critique it in the same way as I would do with any of my own students. I had to admit to my tutor self that the intent and the images did not marry well. So I came to realise I was playing with too many variables. Different people with different stories and different tattoos, located in multiple different locations on their body, most of which do not lend themselves to being photographed in a natural way. I tried concentrating on the sitter with the tattoos just slightly being in view, but this was too oblique and left the viewer questioning what they were looking at. I tried concentrating solely on the tattoo, but this created a separation between the person and their piece of art they have chosen to wear for the rest of their lives, and it left me feeling that there was a lack of empathy for the story of the sitter in the images. So I had to reevaluate my methodology to achieve my intent. I still want to explore the way modern Christians utilise tattoos to display their faith, but I'm going to approach it with a different methodology, by photographing and editing the tattoos to create something totally new. A new piece of artwork that is not readily recognisable as originating from a tattoo, but at the same time to provide a springboard to dive into the spirituality expressed through the tattoo. I want both the wearer of the tattoos and the other viewers to see the piece of living art in a totally new way, by changing the whole image so it is not initially identified as being ink on skin. I have spent the last modules looking at historical and modern photographers' work to find similar contexts, and several photographers have resonated with my work, and even though none of them have photographed tattoos per se, their approach to their practice has challenged me to break out of my crisp, clean, well-executed image style that I am known for. Saul Leiter used photography to look at the everyday from a unique perspective when he created images that changed the way we see the mundane elements of the world around us. Through the unique view of Leiter's work, I was able to see the version of the world he wanted to show. By breaking the general rules of photography, he created photographs that expressed the atmosphere, the motion, the glimpse into someone else's world, just for a fraction of a second. But at the same time, Leiter had stated in interviews that he doesn't think too deeply or metaphorical about his photography, which has given me permission in my own mind to possibly relax my crusade to have a multi-level reasoning behind each image I create. This is contrary to the practice of other photographers such as John Lee, who is very intentional on obtaining what he describes as 3 points of interest in his technically near-perfect images. And while both Leiter and Lee are street photographers, their work is poles apart in their execution and final image. Another photographer whose practice has resonated with mine is John Copeland's. Copeland's self-portraits, where he used his own body in positions and shapes that creates a sculptural effect, with the silver gelatin print creating a charcoal drawing quality, showed me that the human body can be used to great effect. Copeland had stated that this use of abstract expressionism was to express unconscious elements deep within the psyche, which is similar to, if not exactly the same, as my intent to express the spirituality of the person through their tattoos. One tact I considered was similar to an article the Guardian newspaper ran about women having tattoos over their mastectomy scars. I thought the use of tattoos was a brilliant way for the women to celebrate the fact that although they were victims of breast cancer, they were also victors in the battle. The reason why I didn't go down this line is because I want the images to be viewed as, firstly, pieces of abstract art, and to appreciate it in their own right. Secondly, considering some of the locations of the tattoos and the story of the wearer is, in a lot of occasions, too personal for the sitter to be known, the abstract nature of photographs will enable me to have a longevity to my practice, as the anonymity of the sitter is paramount. This solution gives me the ability to photograph a tattoo, know and retell the story, but keep the person nameless. And although this is slightly inconvenient, I do not have a problem with it, as I am not attempting to document a person's story. More so, I am wanting to give an audience to the tattoos which Christians have on their bodies, which would most of the time be hidden and kept private. As I reflect on my journey so far, I realise that I have changed my methodology to my practice. I started out being constrained by what I thought other people would want to see. I created technically perfect portraits for the sitters to admire. I produced individual pieces of work. I did not allow myself the freedom to enjoy trial and error in my practice, as I undertook the initial work in the same way that I would undertake my professional practice, where the pressure is on me to produce images that the client wants. I watched dozens of interviews of world-renowned photographers. Each one, in their own way, had one thing in common. They were true to themselves. I was not true to myself. And even for this AMA, I initially tried to create images that I thought the person marking my work would like to see, and not work that I was proud of. Leiter's work was not recognised for the genius that it is for many decades. He took images for his own enjoyment. I must firstly allow myself to make images for my own satisfaction, and if others like what I have created, then great. If they don't, then it's still okay, as I have satisfied my own stretch and search into the expression of spirituality of a Christian through their tattoos. I am currently using my back catalogue of photographs I have taken over the past year as a springboard to move forward in my revised intent. I have inverted the image wildest in colour, which changed the skin tone to an emerald green, while also inverting the black blue of the tattoo ink to a white. Having inverted the colours of the images, this has now created a metallic effect, resulting in an image that does not immediately look either like skin or a tattoo. In fact, the tattoo now looks like a delicately etched piece of art on green verdigris coppered plate. This variation has started me thinking of creating a set of photographs based on different types of metal, such as gold, silver, titanium, stainless steel, etc. My intention is for this method of editing of the photographs will be carried through to my final major project. My target audience is lovers of tattoos, and in particular the wearer of the original tattoo, who wants to have a piece of art on their walls to celebrate their ink, but would like it something to be totally different and not instantly recognisable as their tattoo. The intent is to produce a set of final images that can be looked at as fine art pieces. My initial plan is to have a book made that will be approximately A3 in size when it's opened flat, with the images printed in high resolution to show off the detail as best as possible. I am intending on using this book as a way for tattoo lovers to be able to either contact me to photograph their own tattoos and or to purchase images I have already made. My plan will be to print and frame the images in the region of 600mm square, so the detail of the subject can be appreciated. I am currently looking into the possibility of showing the final pieces in high-end tattoo studios. As the final images will not be identifying the original wearer of the tattoos, I am also intending on including the background story of the wearer, so there is a conduit to facilitate the viewer to connect with the image in a more personal way. It will also allow for me, when the person's story is of a sensitive nature, to still be told, but in an anonymous way, so it allows the teller to have a forum to tell their unedited testimony of their spiritual story. Thank you.